history. Don't know much biology. Don't know much about a science book. Don't know much about the French I took.
Our trek down the historic corridor in search of Snow College has something to do with shopping. And we're always shopping for discovery.
But I do know that I love you. And I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world this would be.
Once you find yourself on Main Street in Ephraim, Utah, chances are you'll see the Ephraim Co-op. You can't miss it, really. Right there on the corner, 96 North Main Street. Sturdy, proud, and impressive edifice with built-to-last limestone rocks bearing granules of something called oolite, giving it a freshly washed look. In the early days of the Zion's Cooperative Mercantile Institution, ZCMI, satellite stores took in farm produce, handcrafted items, and they helped the communities grow. Ephraim store had all of that and an upstairs for city meetings, dances, receptions, and yes, the place to get an education. The Sanpete Academy held classes there and would one day become Snow College.
Snow College was born of pure determination of the local people. Started off as an LDS citizens' effort to create a school where their children could still read the Book of Mormon and say prayers. From there, it progressed on to become a stake academy, and then Snow College, and then a normal school, and then Snow Junior College, and then finally the Snow College it is today.
Ethic of self-reliance that they came with and then passed on to their children and grandchildren made it possible for these valleys and these communities to grow and prosper and flourish because they wouldn't give up.
Today, the Ephraim Co-op sells books, blankets, arts and crafts, and like a strong foundation of history, it's the cornerstone for the Snow College story. This brick and this book tell us more about Snow College. When it was growing up, this was the building. The academy days, the struggle for funding, the donations, the many people who worked to make it happen, and a century later, it needed a makeover.
My father taught English at Snow College from the early 60s until 1990. I even inherited his office when I was hired on in 1990. And after he retired, President Gerald Day asked him if he would write a book about the noise building. He wanted Dad to capture the early history of the noise building, the project of rebuilding, and make a memorial piece of it. And so my dad and Mom worked with a number of other people and created a book entitled The Spirit of the Noise. And in it, they talked about how in the early years the building had been started actually and then stopped when funding ran out, and then started again and financed largely through donations, or a good part through donations from the local people. In 1909, dedicated as being the heart of the academy, and it still is the heart of the campus. The decision was made, do we tear the thing down and build a new building? Yes, it's going to cost a lot more to retrofit than it's going to be to build a new building that would serve the same function. But people just kind of felt like the noise building was Snow College. And so it was completely gutted. You can see pictures in the book where you look through one of the big doors, and you can look all the way through the building, you can look all the way to the top. There's nothing inside. And essentially, they just built a new building inside of the old building.
It stands as a monument to what our heritage is. It stands as a monument to education, to hope, and to opportunity.
I was born by the river in a little town.
We discovered music on this college campus is a big part of the Snow College story. It was years ago, and oh yes, it still is.
One of the things that's interesting about Snow College is that from the very first day, the very first year, music was part of what people did at the college. Early on, it would have just been, singing in the classroom and that sort of thing. Okay, so folks, this is a ballad rhythm section, but you've got to play the ballad with muscle. Okay, the ballad doesn't mean that it's wimpy. It just means that it's slow, right? The tempo's slow. The band at Snow College was founded in 1897, the orchestra in 1896. And music was an important component of life here in Ephraim with these early Danish settlers. It was a social event.
We're pretty darn sure Thelma White and her all-girl band never played in Ephraim, Utah. However, there's a point here. During the war years, music and dancing continued on the home front. And at Snow College, this man, J. Orrin Anderson, did his part. He was registrar, business manager, bookstore manager, and he had a very full dance card.
Local women have told me the story about my grandfather, who would go to chaperone the dances, and he was in great demand because Grandpa was a good dancer. And there were no men to dance with except Grandpa and a few men that couldn't get drafted because they had physical disabilities or something like that. So that was something that has been dear to me as older ladies have told me that story of dancing with my Grandpa Anderson.
Like what you guys are doing back there. So now the next thing is just gotta feel good.
From the beginning days of singing teachers to rock and roll, rhythm and blues, hip-hop, symphony orchestra, concert band, and a nationally recognized jazz program, it's all here at Snow College.
We have the only bachelor's degree on campus. We've got a beautiful 90,000 square foot performing arts facility that's state-of-the-art. We've got recording facilities on West Campus. We've had an association with faculty members from the Julliard School and from other great institutions over the last decade. We've got a lot of great friends that are some of the best musicians in the world. And
there's one more music story we want to tell you about. A story about a piano. Snow College's very first piano, purchased through hard work, benefit concerts, and donations.
Late in the 1890s, the church, because of some financial constraints, failed to make an appropriation to cover the operation of St. Pete Stake Academy. And the academy remained open, but it remained open because they had to sell the piano that they had worked so hard to purchase. And they sold the piano to pay the faculty.
That first Snow College piano has been replaced. Sort of. You've heard of paying it forward. Well, this is about bending over backwards to help out. car salesman, rock and roll music, and the word road work. These were the only clues we were given to unravel the piano story. Let's hit the road and see what we can discover. We checked the back roads and the internet. We discovered Roadwork was a local band, and they had a record out there somewhere.
Roadwork, yeah, it would have been back in here. I had a group called Roadway, but no Roadwork. Okay.
Randy knows records, but he still needed to call in a lifeline. This guy, Paul Hofheinz, whose son played drums at Snow College. That's gotta help.
Oh, is that the Roadwork record? Mm-hmm. That's it, Roadwork. Is that the guy, Brent Brown? Yeah, Brent Brown wrote this side. Can't wait till we hear it. I've never seen it before, and we got a lot of records. Anyway, that's how obscure it is, and it was great. When I played it, I was really, really impressed for a local band. That's one of the better bands that I've heard.
That takes us back to Snow College. Down this hallway, right there on the wall, the rest of the story. Brent Brown, the car salesman, was in that band Roadwork, and he had a gift for Snow College. A Steinway Concert Grandee piano.
When she described the story that Snow College had had this wonderful piano in the early days and then had to sell it for financial reasons, and now we had the opportunity to replace that piano, well, all of a sudden a good decision to give this piano to Snow College became absolutely the right decision, and it was just meant to be.
Brent and Mona Brown love history and music, and they love Snow College.
So when Brent came to me about this piano that was really special to us as well, he said, I think that I'm going to donate it to Snow College. And I said, of course you are, because there lies his heart. He loves Snow College. It's really special to us, and I'm sure it's going to be special to them as well.
This beautiful art-carved Steinway D concert grand piano was originally built in 1873. Through the generosity of Mr. Brown, he's donated this piano to Snow College to replace, in part symbolically, the piano that was sold back in the 1890s.
And I could not be happier seeing it used tonight like it's supposed to be. And not just sitting as a piece of furniture, but being used as the instrument it was meant to be. I'm sure the people who built it in 1873 would be really proud of the fingers who touched it tonight. Thanks, it's our pleasure. We love Snow College. You have our heart. Thanks.
Today, Snow College has lots of pianos, and one very special piano.
new generation at Snow College, there's a unique connection with the greatest generation, even if they don't know about it. Just over there, in the Social Science Building, down a quiet hallway, that's where you find it.
As you know, that there will be United States forces and British forces fighting side by side in the Southeast Asia Command with our Chinese allies, and final victory is won.
It's a fascinating story about World War II and a love story that survived it.
Well, while I was in the service, I tried to collect a lot of junk and I brought it home, and I decided to have a display at Snow College. I approached them and they liked the idea, so we put it up. And there's 5 uniforms of mine and 5 of my wife's. Also a lot of other things that I picked up around the world, and that's all in the display at Snow College.
Johnson piloted numerous missions from India over the Himalayas to China, carrying fuel, bombs, and supplies.
The flight across the Himalayas came to be known in the CBI as flying the hump.
Getting there would become known as getting over the hump. That's the title of Roger's book.
Nowadays, you hear the phrase over the hump, and mostly people think that it's because they've achieved something. They've passed a test, and in school they call Wednesday hump day because they're halfway through the week. But the hump was part of the Himalayan mountains that we flew over to supply China during World War II.
Behind those uniforms, medals, and mementos of war, and those 65 daring missions is one flight of fancy Roger Johnson always held dear. He says luck saved his life during the war, and luck led him to Army nurse LaRue Tucker.
I started dating LaRue. I took her airplane riding, in which I would show off just a little bit, which I was well capable of doing. And we went together, and I don't know when this thing happened, but it come on us quite suddenly, and we both fell in love, and it was really something.
So my mother and father had an incredible love story. It's not a common love story because they both were young and in love and served in World War II. Together, my mother was a nurse in the Army, and my father was a pilot, also serving in the Army. And so they served together, which made it difficult. It was a challenging beginning for their marriage.
As the war raged on and duty called, they were separated time and again. Even after a hasty Las Vegas marriage, they were dispersed for their war duties.
I couldn't write I had temporary duty in China for a while, and she would wait for the letters, and she'd complain that I wasn't writing to her, and vice versa, and so forth.
In a cardboard box, neatly arranged letters with weathered stamps tell how the young couple coped with 3 years of separation.
I can hear foghorns, so we must be close to the ocean.
In all, 462 letters from LaRue to Roger during the war.
We've got them all in order.
They're all here in order of arrival. Letters about war, dreams, and tomorrow.
It was extremely hard on both of us. The first part of the war, I was based near Hollywood. She was based way out in the Pacific. And then we switched sides. She was in the States, and I was in India and China. And it was hard.
The letters worked, their marriage lasted through the war and for 61 years. Their anthology on display at Snow College. Roger's telegrams when his plane went down, worrying his wife and mother. Maps sporting gold stars marking a zigzag tail. Foreign currency, cups, silk bandanas, beautiful butterfly serving trays, and colorful flight jackets. And the love story behind it all, helping students get over more than just Wednesdays.
Roger and his wife set up a scholarship endowment so that scholarships could be provided in perpetuity. I think that's a really important statement for our students to know, that the people who establish these funds are people who care about students. And their hope is that as these students go on to graduate and make a difference, that they also care about students and they leave their legacy behind, just like Roger did.
I hope that they will learn from my parents' story. We make our own love story, and we live through those challenges, and we learn from our experiences, and I hope that we can learn through the experiences of others.
Off the beaten path, not far from his first flying lesson, up the road from where Roger met LaRue, and a world away from the Himalaya mountains, the story of a pilot and a nurse still lingers. A love story to remember.
Stretching before us were 500 miles of rough duty for us aerial truck drivers. We called it flying the hump.
There's the snap, the ball is down, the kick is blocked by the Badgers, the ball is loose at the 30-yard line.
Even in a small town, on the campus of a small college, like Snow College, you can discover big-time sports accomplishment.
I think my time at Snow College was fantastic. It was a place that initially my mom was a little leery about dropping me off in a small town coming from Southern California, but getting there, you understand what everyone's there for. I was there to play football, hopefully get an education as well. Snow College gave me that opportunity. It put me in an environment to be around successful people, great coaches, great facilities, and the staffs and everything really pushed everybody through it. And I think what happened is Snow College has had such great success that people like the University of Kansas came to Ephraim to recruit me. And so I think that it has an opportunity to provide you with amazing resources. And for me, it was the catapult to get me to college football in the Big 8 with the University of Kansas, and then from there to the NFL.
From the football field where sheep herds meander by each fall, to the fields and arenas on the world stage, great success lifts off here at Snow College.
Attending classes at Snow College might bring you here to the Ephraim campus, or here to Richfield, or it might take you up in the mountains. Welcome to the Great Basin Experiment Station. It's owned by the U.S. Forest Service, managed by Snow College.
This place is almost like a hidden treasure. A lot of people don't know about it, and I think it's neat for me to be able to learn about the history and be able to teach other people who come up. Because there's people who come up on their four-wheelers or just randomly stop by and they have no idea what the place is or that it even existed, and so it's really neat to be able to share the history of the place with them.
The history is unique and amazing. The story can be found in part in these old black and white photos. And more of the story in this picture of sheep, lots of sheep, grazing away.
The reason why this place began was because there was lots of flooding and different landslides down in the lower valley, Mount Pleasant, Ephraim, Manti areas, and the people had no idea why.
You know, the Great Basin Station is the place where scientists first tried to answer the question, can we find balance between the need to maintain healthy plants on the mountain and graze livestock? Livestock, of course, was essential to the livelihood of people of Sanpete Valley. So their livelihood and really the future health of the Manti La Salle National Forest was dependent on the research that was done here. It started in 1911, and its research results ended up being used worldwide to benefit other people.
Important science lessons high in the mountains learned from those sheep herds years ago. And today, a rite of passage, the sheep coming down the mountain, right by Snow College.
It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
A special day on the campus of Snow College. While school children pore over intriguing science exhibits, the past work and dedication of others receive a booming salute.
And we're grateful that we are now going to be able to make a great difference in their lives with this wonderful science center.
Your one has to go in this box somewhere. Nope, not there. So you can't go there, and you can't go there.
For students, faculty, staff, and the whole community, with this project underway and so many other exciting developments moving forward, believe me, the best is yet to come, folks. So congratulations, Bob, and congratulations, Snow College.
And I was really overcome when I found out about a month ago that the building, the science building, was to bear my name and my wife's name. What an honor. I am so honored, I am overwhelmed.
It's been a long time coming.
Thank you, Snow College, and thank you for the students to keep us going on this climb and this rise, and hopefully we will continue the change.
But I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
Historic buildings from yesterday, a state-of-the-art science building for tomorrow, and excited children exploring the next chapter of a wonderful story, the Snow College story.